Coming up on Midco Sports tonight, we reveal our Players of the Year for North and South Dakota prep basketball. Jody and Jandy put a lot of thought into these selections, and they'll elaborate on their picks for each class. And finally, a spring football update from Vermilion. All of that, plus much more, Midco Sports Tonight tips off right now. Hey everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm Kelly Stewart, and this is Midco Sports Tonight. Well, after the grind of a regular season and seeing champions crowned, our high school experts are ready to put a bow on the high school basketball season by announcing our Midco Sports Network Players of the Year. We've chosen players from each class in North Dakota and South Dakota, and we're ready to share them with you. So we are going to start in Class A in North Dakota on the boys' side. We selected 2 finalists for the award, and those 2 young men are 6'4" senior forward Trey Steckler from Mandan, who averaged 20 points and 8.5 rebounds per game this season, and West Fargo's 6'3" senior guard Joe Pistorius, who led the EDC in scoring at 23 points per game, while being one of the state's best passers too, averaging 4 assists per game. Both were Mr. Basketball finalists, and both are deserving of being named the Player of the Year. So to make that choice, we bring in our own Jody Norstedt. And Jody, this couldn't have been easy. Take us through your thinking on narrowing the list to these 2 young men and ultimately selecting one of them.
You bet, Kelly. I narrowed this list in particular down to 2 names because I feel like these guys kind of set themselves apart from anyone else. Joe Pistorius was the best player in the East, and Trey Steckler was the most dominant individual player in the West, in my opinion. I think in the next tier, you'd get to players like Cheyenne, Zach Westfall, Josh Sipes, and Cade Amundsen from Century, Davies, Brayton Muchenbaker, among a few others. But let's get to those 2 finalists. The first thing that I look at is the numbers. How much is the individual doing for his or her team? Trey did a ton. You mentioned his stats, 20+ points and 8 boards per game. He also shot around 70% from the field. I think that's one of the most important numbers of all. He doesn't miss much when he gets the ball in the post, and he's big and strong. Obviously going to go play football at UND. I really like Steckler's game all year, and I thought he finished things off pretty strong with a great state tournament, averaging 27 points and 10 boards in 3 games. He could take over games when he wanted to, and that's why I strongly considered him as the Class A Player of the Year. But I'm going to go and give it to Joe Pistorius out of West Fargo. Now, what helps Joe's case is we take a look at video of Mr. Pistorius, and I feel like he really grew this year as a guy that set up his teammates for success, along with scoring a lot of buckets himself, obviously averaging the 23 points per game. Pistorius averaged a bit more points than Steckler. He went from being a spot-up shooter as a younger player to becoming a really good ball handler and a player that can beat you off the dribble and get to the line. Here you see him sharing the ball, and that's why I'm going with Joe Pistorius as our Midco Sports Network Player of the Year in Class A. He's one of the handful of key seniors that the Packers will have to replace next year. 6'5" center Luke Lennon will be the key returner for Adam Palczewski's squad.
All right, congrats to Joe. Now, moving on, let's get to your finalists for the Class A Girls Award. And it came down to a pair of underclassmen in junior forward Megan Zander from Mandan. She was outstanding again this year, averaging 20 points and 12 boards per game for the Braves. And the other finalist is Century sophomore sensation Lauren Ware, who averaged a double-double too. So, Jody, how did you dwindle the field down to these 2 names?
Yeah, this wasn't easy either. Obviously, seniors like Davies, Reagan, Linster, Whitney Thomas from Legacy, and Tanya Dvorak from St. Mary's deserve a mention. They all had fabulous careers. Also, we have some Division I commits, and Lily Keplin from Century, Maggie Manson from Cheyenne. But I feel that these 2 players, Ware and Zander, really helped lead their team, not just in the regular season, but think about what they did in the postseason. Let's take a look at Zander first. She's a 6-foot guard forward that led the EDC in scoring, rebounds, and steals, and by EDC, I mean WDA, of course. She was named first team All-State for the 2nd consecutive season. I had the opportunity to watch her in person a few times this year, and I always walked away really impressed with her confidence and composure. She's instinctive on defense and can get to the basket on offense. If she's hitting her outside shot like she was in that clip, she becomes unstoppable. But with that said, I give the slight edge to Lauren Ware as our Midco Sports Network Player of the Year. Ware is just a complete game changer. The 6'4" sophomore averaged a double-double like Zander, but also chipped in nearly 4 blocks per game, while helping the Patriots win their first state title since 2013. At the high school level, having a post player with Ware's size almost seems unfair. She's become such a confident shot blocker, and I think she's getting smarter on the offensive end of how to use her size to her advantage. She had college coaches from UND, NDSU, Nebraska, Iowa State, and Florida watching her at the state tournament. It's going to be fun to watch Ware the next couple of seasons and beyond.
All right, congratulations, and thanks, Jody. Those are definitely some talented hoopsters.
You bet.
All right, coming up after the break, we'll give the small schools some love as we select our Class B Players of the Year in North Dakota. Stay right here.
Midco Sports Tonight, presented by Avera Orthopedics.